Well, hello. This is Creating Cards with Sherry. I'm Sherry, and I'm so glad that you have joined me today for my Tickled Tuesday video. I trust you all had a great Memorial Day weekend. Um, I certainly was busy all weekend, and now I feel behind because I had an extra day off there. Um, or I had a day where I was supposed to be working but didn't. So it's just kind of thrown me a little bit. But that's okay. We are having fun. Today we are going to make a pillar pop-up card. It's quite interesting and it's a lot of fun and it makes a very unique card. I think you'll enjoy it. So let's just turn me off and we'll concentrate on the project at hand. I am using today a pecan pie cardstock. I'm using the beautiful Gallery 6x6 DSP paper, and and then I'm using the beautiful motifs and the Gallery blooms. These are all from the beautiful Gallery suite. Pressed flower motifs are going to be our embellishment today. And I'm using pecan pie and early espresso ink. So I think that's all we have to worry about at this time. So we're going to get started. I need to grab my cutting board, or my paper trimmer, I should say. What you're going to want to do is we're just going to kind of follow this here. You're going to start with a 5.5 by 8.25 piece. Usually when we cut this, it's 5.5 by 8.5. So you'll want to check this and make sure it's not 8.5, but 8.25. And the reason you want to be careful of that is because it will not fit in an envelope if you don't get that size correct. All right, so you want to make sure that it's 5.5 by 8.25. Okay. Oops. I put it away too soon. I have to show you something else. Okay, now we're going to make some score lines. We're going to make 4 score lines. And so we're going to do, let's see, a 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and 4 inches. Okay, now I can put my paper trimmer away. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to crease all of these score lines so that we are ready to go. So I'm just going to go through. Please excuse my hands. I've been crafting all afternoon and they are just full of ink. And usually the first wash doesn't work, but it comes off eventually. But I can never seem to get rid of it right at the first wash, probably because I don't get to it on time. All right. So what's going to happen is this is going to fold to make a little box, okay? And so that's what we want to prepare for. What this end, this 1/2 inch here, is going to be glued on the inside. But for now, we're going to fold this over so I can see my 2 wider panels. And what I have is I have 2 strips of 1.25 by 5.5 of the DSP paper, or the designer series paper. And I am going to put them right in those columns on my card. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I was looking on line to see what kind of cards I could do. And Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs is one of my favorite demonstrators to get ideas from. And I got this one from her. So Thank you, Lynn, for sharing with us, and I'm glad to pass it along. All right. There are a lot of different folds that have been coming out lately, and so I'm checking on those to see what I can show you to make a fun card. And this is one of them. All right. Then I also have a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of DSP paper that I'm going to stick right in there. Oh, before I do that though, we have to stamp first. All right, I have the 5 1/4 by 4, and then I have this piece that's 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. By the way, all these measurements and products and all that stuff will be listed on my blog at creatingcardswithsherry.blogspot.com. So be sure to check it out. All right, I am going to start with early espresso. I'm going to take some grid paper here. And I'm also going to I want to show you, we have what we call a piercing mat. And it's used for doing some piercing of some things, but it also helps in using stamping with it with the photopolymer stamps, especially if you're working on a table that moves or is very soft and it kind of presses down sort of thing. And so I bought one to check it out, and I kind of liked it, and I had some of the ladies from my group that I met with this week I had them try it out, and they were impressed with it as well. So it's very sturdy, and it doesn't budge like a table would. So you can stamp very easily. Your stamp should not rock unless you're doing this with it. And it should all go very smoothly for you. All right, I am going to get started here. I'm going to stamp off and then stamp on. All right, just give it a lighter look to it. I'm going to do it again on the smaller one. Okay. Then I'm also going to take my sentiment, and I chose thinking of you, and I am going to put it right on the bottom of this. Okay. Then we're going to take the pecan pie. And this particular stamp, I'm not going to stamp off on. I'm just going to put it directly over that first image that I stamped. Okay. So you just have that little design in the background. There we go. Okay. Then I'm going to take one more stamp, and I am going to stamp off with this one. Still using the pecan pie ink. And I'm going to stamp off up here. And stamp off down here. It just gives it that nice little touch. And I'm going to do that on both of these. So I'm going to stamp off to make it a little lighter. And down here. Okay, there we are. That's all the stamping that we have to do. I'm going to close this up so I don't get ink everywhere. And I'll move my mat. Okay, now the fun begins. I'm going to start with the 5 1/4 by, I want to get this piece too. 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to glue that down on the main part of my card. And I'm just going to center that right in here and lay that down. Isn't that pretty? Okay. And then what we want to do, we did the panels, and now we've done this, okay? Now we're going to put this glue on the far 1/2 inch score. And we're going to turn this in on, it's going to fold over up off of this line here. So you're going to turn it in and get it. Let's see, I have to think of how I did this now. Yeah. You turn it in, you line it up with that 4-inch score, and then you press it down. And you should see as it folds together that it matches up evenly on the bottom. Okay? So I hope I haven't confused you with that too much. The thing is, you just go straight to the 4-inch score line, place it down, and it should work. Now, what's nice about these folds is that you can fold them down like this, and it'll fit perfectly in a regular envelope. So you never have to worry about how big this is getting and if it can't be done, you know. So it will work. Everything flattens out so that it will work. All right. This is what I'm calling my mat. It's 4 1/4 by 2 3/4, and I'm going to place this piece of DSP, my layer piece, at 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. And I'm just going to center that right here. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to lay this down flat, and you want to line this up. You want to line it up so that it'll come pretty much even with your card. Might become a little more even with the DSP paper, but you want it to line up and so that you have pretty much the same amount of space between. And then you're going to take your glue and you're going to glue from the top. This is just a guideline for you to know where to put the glue. You'll put the glue from this end of that piece to this end of that piece. You want to leave the far ends of this 1/2 inch open, and you'll see why in just a minute. Then you just take that and you put it right there on top. And we'll just let that sit for a little bit so that it takes hold. And then I'm going to take my embellishments and I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom. And then because we always put 3 or an odd number of embellishments on our cards, I'm going to take one more and stick it right there. Okay. Now this is what it looks like. Here's your pop-up pillar, and that's the card. That's what it looks like when it's all done. Isn't that cool? I love the way that this layout is, and it's so pretty by just making those patterns really soft and nice on the DSP paper. So you can choose any of your designer series paper or any stamp set that you want to use. I just happened to use the beautiful gallery today. I did make another one very similar to it, and that was this one. The only thing that I did differently here is, if you look at this, if you have a black pen and you want to write a message, you can do that. Or you can turn it around if you want and just write on there. But if it's a dark card, you aren't going to be able to write a very clear message. So you might want to get a 5 1/4 by 4 base card and or a piece and put it on the back of your card that you can write on. So I'm just showing you that as an alternative. And but that's our pop-up pillar card. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this and that you'll go ahead and try it on your own because it really is cool. And I will see you again on Sunday for my Simple Sunday video. Give me a day or so to get my blog set up because I am behind. I don't have it prepared yet, but I will be working on putting all the information in my blog. Again, that's creatingcardswithsherry.blogspot.com, and you will be able to get everything that you need in there by sometime tomorrow. All right. Have a good night, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.